How's it going, everyone? It's Vivi and welcome to my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3 video. Let's go, let's get straight into it. My overall thought on the game. Kingdom Hearts 3 is not a bad game. It's not terrible, but does suffer in a good portion of areas. For me personally, KH3 fails to take the spot as number 1. Honestly, if you were to tell me right now, Vivi, what is your order of favorite games from the franchise? A top 3, let's say. If we consider the vanilla versions, aka the non-final mix versions of 1, 2, and 3, I'd put KH3 at first place, okay? KH3, KH2, KH1. If we go with the final mix versions, then KH2 final mix wins for me. KH3 comes second, and then KH1 final mix. Look, agree to disagree with my personal ranking. Each game has its own charm and weak points. In terms of gameplay, quick, the crown goes to KH2. In terms of world exploration, Kingdom Hearts 3 easily, so on and so forth. With that said, I want to start by going over what I mainly enjoyed from my experience when playing Kingdom Hearts 3. Let's start with the worlds, shall we? Although KH3 has the least amount of worlds comparing it to the main numbered titles, KH1 and KH2, KH3 managed to deliver in terms of exploration, and not to mention NPCs. For such a long time, Kingdom Hearts games lacked NPCs. The worlds felt so empty. So seeing NPCs in KH3 was huge for me, and a lot of you as well. I'm sure the same applies. Now, as for KH1, in terms of visits, we had second visits here and there, well, technically Traverse Town. As for KH2, all worlds basically had 2 visits. KH3, if you take the time to explore for lucky emblems, ingredients, and treasures, each world for me, 1 visit would amount to 2.5 hours of gameplay. Yep, we're talking about only 1 visit per world. 2.5 hours. It could be shorter for you, it really depends on your gameplay style. Worlds in this game felt so much bigger. No more black screens when transitioning from one area to the next. Not to mention the visuals. Beautiful, stunning worlds to explore. The Caribbean absolutely looks stunning. The Kingdom shader really did an awesome job in this world. It easily blows KH2's version out of the water. Those pre-rendered scenes, by the way, eye candy. Be it Frozen, the Caribbean, the scene with Davy Jones, looks beautiful. Worlds featured lots of lengthy cutscenes. And look, I had absolutely no problem with that. Some people didn't enjoy the fact that there were too many cutscenes, but I liked it. And I was expecting KH3 to have long cutscenes, and it did. I mean, it's just my opinion, of course. But I'm sad about a few things. We didn't get to hear one word from Phil. Come on, it's Phil we're talking about. I heard they did this in order to pay respect to the Japanese voice actor who passed away. But what about Xehanort, dude? I take it Xehanort just has a big role. They needed a voice actor for him. Also, we didn't even get to hear Dylan or Alias. Guess they didn't get voice actors? Like, what happened? Anywho, next point I want to talk about. Gameplay. For me, it felt like a hybrid of 0.2 and Kingdom Hearts 2. This term the community uses to describe Birth by Sleep, 0.2, and KH3 gameplay, floaty. You've probably heard it a million times. Yes, Sora seems to float more, meaning gameplay since 0.2, well, Birth by Sleep, there's less weight to the gameplay, less weight to the characters. But floaty combo in KH3, it works well for what it is. The way the battles and the bosses are designed, the gameplay fits. I mean, I had fun with it. In short, KH3's gameplay is not garbage. It's not awful, it's not terrible, it's fun. Let's go with that. Now, there's a past mechanic present, also from Dream Drop Distance, flow motion, or call it athletic flow, the new term in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's a lot more balanced, as I just said. No more jumping over and over and spamming flow motion. You can only bounce and jump off the wall once. Also, KH3 gave us abilities such as guard, dodge roll, by default, as opposed to previous installments. I like that, it didn't bother me. However, that doesn't mean I'm a fan of attraction flow. Nope, no. If there's one thing I dislike a lot in KH3, it's attraction flow. Hey, at least you can disable the animations by either pressing square or by fully disabling it via the settings menu. It's just something I barely utilized unless we talk about critical situations, which barely happened. talk about the low HP situations or way too many enemies on screen. That barely happened. As for situation commands, I just stuck with high tier magic, mainly. I didn't really use the attractions. Plus, moving from ground combat to attractions, the flow of battle just didn't feel smooth. Mountain Coaster attraction flow is exclusive to certain battles like Rock Titan and the battle between the Unversed, Heartless, and Nobodies at the Keyblade Graveyard. Going back to what I said about critical situations, I've played Kingdom Hearts 3 for 73 hours. And how did I play the game for 73 hours, you might ask? Well, lucky emblems, getting all of them, and finding all treasures. I played on Proud and only died once during this battle segment at the Caribbean. You know, where he had to keep an eye on the health of the ship. Difficulty in Kingdom Hearts 3. It felt like gameplay for casuals. The whole promotion of big Disney films in Kingdom Hearts 3, such as Frozen and Tangled, to me it felt like a game where its main focus was, oh, you're gonna have Sora, Donald, and Goofy explore these beautiful looking Disney movies. Yes, exploring is a good thing, but if that means sacrificing difficulty, that's another story. Nomura himself outright said this from Ultimania. Additionally, we took recent player trends into account when we created the battles for KH3, so we held back on the difficulty level. Go on ahead and try and explain what he means by recent player trends, okay? But look, I love Tetsuya Nomura and his mind trickery sometimes, but I disagree with this statement. KH3 is about exploring Disney worlds, yes, but it's a JRPG, don't forget. Gameplay is an important aspect. Anywho, Critical Mode did get confirmed, and will release free via an update sometime this year. If Square Enix toned down difficulty, expect people to get concerned, or backlash even. As for Keyblade transformations, let's move on to that. I enjoyed them. You can even set it to basic animation via the settings menu. Instead of having the camera move around, basic mode has the camera only focus on Sora, a la Dry Forms. But with normal, although the camera moves around, High Wind for example and Storm Flag cause a lot more damage. You can still knock away enemies with basic mode, but normal is even higher in terms of that. Next, KH3 has a new addition, the Gummi phone, instead of a journal. Woohoo, selfies! Finding the lucky emblem. Oh my Disney. After collecting all lucky emblems, I started seeing lucky emblems everywhere. I'm not even joking. In real life, perhaps yes, okay. But in the game, sometimes I would see these shadows, and I would think those are lucky emblems, but no, they're not. It's fun, it's really fun, but can get a bit frustrating at times, especially when Donald or Goofy mention the same line over and over again.
I bet you there's a lucky emblem here. I bet you there's a lucky I bet you
Hey look, that's a lucky emblem! I start to frantically look around in circles. Like where? Where is it? As for the ingredients I mentioned before, you have Remy. You collect ingredients from worlds, go back to Twilight Town, and cook a meal. How I wish we could disable the dialogues for ingredients. Like after you've completed everything, after you no longer need ingredients really, it gets annoying.
This might be a good spot to find some ingredients.
As for the eggs, cracking eggs for me is the hardest thing in the game. And you waste ingredients. Don't forget, every time you mess up. And as for these ingredients, by the way, you can consume them as temporary stat boosts. Just for fun, I consumed only one meal in 73 hours of gameplay. As I said, difficulty lacked. And just for the heck of it, I thought, okay, let me consume a meal and see what happens. If you consider level 1 playthroughs in KH3, that's when ingredients, meals, start to play a bigger role. But we don't want KH3 to be challenging only via level 1. Come on, right? Classic Kingdom. Yay. No comments really. This is something Nomura wanted to implement, I understand, but I simply had absolutely no patience for Classic Kingdom. Luckily, the trophy only requires you to get any score on these games, and that's it. Whew! Gummi ships, yes, good work done by Square Enix. Finally, I found Gummi ship travels bearable. You can now freely move around, pick up experience, find items even. Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 Gummi ship missions, huge nope. Always a hassle for me and just not fun at all. I wasn't looking forward to it. For those who have been following me for a while, I do talk about Ratchet & Clank when I do these Gummi ship missions in KH3, I get a lot of A Crack in Time vibes. For those who've played Ratchet & Clank, you understand what I mean. Anyways, you can also level up Keyblades. Again, with the lack of difficulty, it didn't really feel necessary. Like, I love the idea, it's cool, since Union Cross has Keyblades, which can get leveled up, I thought, hey, why not implement that mechanic in KH3? It's a great idea. Now, with critical mode in the picture eventually, I hope leveling up Keyblades feels more satisfying. As for having less Keyblades, I personally wasn't bothered by it, because really, my style of gameplay, usually I never switch between too many Keyblades. I always stuck to like 2 or 3 in previous games. As for minigames in general, we have 2 sliding minigames, one which is part of the Cherry Flan, one of the Pudding Heartless. It's really hard to control at first. Later I realized, okay, when you go over speed boosts, don't move the analog stick. That makes a whole lot of a difference. As for Arendelle section, it's alright. But in order to get an Orichalcum Plus, you have to find all treasures. Not having the ability to move the camera around, it sucked. I had to do this 50 times to find the treasures. It's not cool. Another Orichalcum Plus is by completing all high scores for Fantastic 7. It's manageable, no problem. My least favorite one I'd say was the one from San Francisco, where you had to bounce on him. Whoever thought RNG, Random Number Generator, was a good idea for an Orichalcum Plus, I hope you drop your phone in the toilet. Don't laugh, okay? Here's a small story of mine. I thought I was missing my 7th Orichalcum Plus from the postcards. I tried sending postcards 200 times or even more. I got nothing. The trick to getting an Orichalcum Plus, if that's the one you're missing, buy a cheap item. Quit Moogle, go back, buy another, you know, rinse and repeat. After 1 or 3 tries when buying cheap items, you get a postcard. Do this like 15 times until you get 15 postcards, save your game, send all your postcards in one batch. You don't get an Orichalcum Plus, it's okay. Don't save, just reload your game via a save point. I did read horror stories where where it took people more than 100 tries to get an Orichalcum Plus. For me, it seems I had already gotten it by luck early in the game, which I was completely unaware of. I tried sending 200 postcards to only later realize I had it. I spent over an hour. I was missing 1 high score from Pudding Heartless. The watermelon one. All this for the Ultima weapon. How sad. Kingdom Hearts 3 wants you to go through many games and luck in order to get all your Orichalcum Pluses. KH's Ultima requirements, sure it was harder than KH2's, but didn't require you to spend endless amount of hours on mini games. But the end result, guys, look at the sexy looking Keyblade. Look at it. Beautiful Keyblade transformation, by the way, and focus attacks. Yes, all Keyblades had unique attacks when using max focus. Air Step is one little neat feature they added. I like it. Fun mechanic. But at first, I had so much trouble with controlling it, especially at Mount Olympus. Not only with the Tornado Titan boss, but just getting up to Zeus. This brings me to bosses. Bosses were cool. Favorite one would be the one from Arendelle. Just the design and the feel of the boss, it was nice. The one from Rapunzel's Tower was also neat. Not to mention all of the titans you had to face. Rock Titan, you can defeat him with Attraction Flow or without. I didn't use Attraction Flow just for the heck of it, because I've watched a bunch of demos and people always summoned the train. So just for the heck of it, I decided not to use it. However, I did experience a lot of camera issues in this part. The only moment where Magic Carousel felt needed was the bosses Ice Titan and Lava Titan. Like I said before, I barely used Attraction Flow. As for Link summons, they were okay. I didn't use them as much. I never used summons in KH1 or KH2 really. Now if you were to ask me, Vivi, did you at least use one most often? Sure, I'll just say Simba. You can also skip these Link animations via settings or pressing square. Oh, let's not forget the nice music throwback, which you hear when you summon these characters. As for frame drops, well, it was minimal. The most I encountered was when I was above the rooftops at Port Royale. I was playing this on PS4 Pro. I set the graphics settings to default, not stable. Default prioritizes frame rate over graphics, and stable is basically the opposite. Prioritize graphics over frame rate. I heard that stable mode has way too many frame rate issues, so anyways, I just stuck with default. The music, epic, beautiful, Shion's theme and Roxas's felt very triumphant this time around. Like they're back, they're ready to fight. I liked it. Kingdom Hearts 3's music was all remixed, basically, and I was a huge fan of it. I love the music, I have nothing else to say. Now, as for the problems with KH3, let's go. In order from major to least, here it is. Number 1 would be pacing, number 2 would be lack of content, and 3 would be difficulty. Difficulty as number 3 because it's fixable via updates. Okay, let's skip number 3 since I already brought up the lack of difficulty before. Let's move on to points 2 and 1. Lack of content. I don't just mean lack of Final Fantasy characters or secret bosses, but Kingdom Hearts exclusive worlds were either very lackluster or absent. Twilight Town was a huge letdown. Such a beautiful looking world, and barely explorable. Heck, we couldn't even enter the mansion. Radiant Garden! Looking at how this scene looks beautiful, it feels as if they initially had thought of Radiant Garden being explorable. Unfortunately, we didn't. I was truly disappointed by that. 100 Acre Woods was so short. What even were they thinking? What was the point? The whole thing of Winnie the Pooh being forgotten by Sora was cute and all, okay, but the whole premise of this world was just minigames. Just so short. I'm not saying past games had Winnie the Pooh as gameplay intensive. No, it was always about minigames, but this one was just too short. Nomura went on to explain that he wanted this world to be a breather. It's because Pooh is a character that makes you feel relaxed, just by being there. From the beginning I thought to have 100 Acre Woods appear in KH3 as a place you can take a breather from the main adventure and play some light minigames, since it would take away from the development of the other worlds otherwise. Scala at Kylum. The place looks as if it was originally explorable. Look at it. You even hear the world's theme for just a little segment. Such a great theme. It's sad, really. Wasn't Sora in the room of chess where Ericus and Xehanort played chess, originally behind an event which was closed door? Like concept art. To me, it feels like they scrapped exploration for this world. Was it due to time constraints? What happened? Wasn't this Nomura's favorite world even? Unless by final world he meant the final world. Whatever it is, it's just Scala at Kylum. There was so much potential. Disney worlds! Nothing happens. And I'm talking about Kingdom Hearts plot, relevancy. Organization members show up and leave. Couldn't we at least battle a few of them in these Disney worlds? Props to Kingdom Hearts 2 for that. Demyx. Well, Demyx was in Radiant Garden, but you get it. We had Zaldin. If let's say we would have battled organization members, they get defeated in said Disney world, and then Vexen or Demyx would play a better role. Demyx explains he got benched, even Vexen. The organization members who'd get defeated in a Disney world, let's say, Vexen could have showed up at the Keyblade Graveyard and be like, okay, you defeated this person, now it's my turn to replace them. Nomura did say he'll dive deeper into the whole Vexen and Demyx situation, if I'm not mistaken, in the Ultimania, but still, even the whole new Seven Lights thing, nothing happened. Waste of dialogue? I would have loved to see a Guardian of Light not join the ranks. Something happens to them and they're no longer capable of fighting at the Keyblade Graveyard. The clash no longer works, so instead they use a Disney princess. That way Disney worlds would have felt more important. That's one thing I loved about Kingdom Hearts 1. The Disney worlds felt more involved in the whole Kingdom Hearts lore. Frozen and Tangled were the worst, really. As beautiful as they are, these worlds just felt like Sora stamped in a Disney movie. When Marluxia approached Mother Gothel, I got excited. Oh, these two are gonna talk, we're gonna get a bunch of cutscenes. But no, that was it. Only one scene between these two and nothing really happened. We only saw facial expressions. I remember telling myself, I hope Larxene interacts with Elsa and starts messing with her mind. Nope, that didn't happen. Kingdom Hearts 2 we had Zaldin and Belle. Belle fighting for herself, punching Zaldin in the gut. That was something. Hans in Arendelle. He's shown but nothing happens. No word, no nothing. Why couldn't we fight him? Their delivery was aimed for people who watch the films. See, I feel Disney had their claws in these two particular worlds. Like, no, Square Enix, we don't want you to put too much Kingdom Hearts lore in these Disney worlds, okay? We just want the movies to play out and have Sora in the background. How disappointing. Even the Caribbean. Beautiful world, beautiful pre-rendered scenes, but if you didn't watch Pirates 3, you have a hard time understanding what's going on. So with that being said, let's move on to something else. The lack of extra bosses or post-content. Dark Inferno, I have to admit, it's fun and challenging, even at level 73. But I still managed to beat him on my first try. But I was lucky. It was challenging, it was fun. As for the battle portals, they're very forgettable. Kingdom Hearts 2 had data battles with the organization members. That was something. But here's something Nomura had to say. There have been many requests to fight strong enemies, so I'm thinking that the priority would be on releasing a critical mode in the form of free DLC, and making the addition of strong enemies, the sort that would appear in the final mix, paid DLC. So with time we might get something a la Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix in terms of secret bosses. If they do add the foretellers as boss battles, that'd be insane. Look, post-content it's lacking, right? It's sad, but it's fixable via DLC. And now for the most frustrating part for me. All this build-up from previous games, all these reunions and everything, Kingdom Hearts plot relevancy all shoved at the end. This begins my discussion on the poor pacing of Kingdom Hearts 3. We're looking at 358, or 2 Days Reunion, and Birth by Sleep, all shoved towards the end. Nothing really comes out of it. Okay, apart from manly tears, of course. Those moments were indeed emotional, but what I mean to say is this: the delivery of these reunions felt so rushed. It's really sad. Sora goes to the Realm of Darkness, saves Aqua, and then they save Ven, and then they save Terra, and then Xion comes back, Roxas comes back. You get it. Everything was happening too fast. Honestly, Aqua and Ven should have been something mid-game. Have these two find each other, maybe have cutscenes at least, go to Disney Worlds, have Ven train to make sure he's in shape, something like that, right? Or even have Ven playable for a small segment. We did have Aqua playable, but only for a short segment with Vanitas. I mean, this is Kingdom Hearts 3. I understand Sora is the main protagonist, but they could have added a lot more gameplay with these characters. What we get instead is Good Morning Ven, Good Morning Aqua, pushing aside all that hype and anticipation fans had built up over the years. Look, maybe we were expecting too much, yes, but come on now. Like, have more scenes with these two. Ven's been asleep for over 10 years. We're talking about a reunion which was waited and anticipated for years. Sadly, all these reunions just happened too fast. Not to mention Kairi. Oh. I've seen discussions and frustrations over on Twitter, comment section and all that, and I understand. Kairi being the damsel in distress. Zero justice done to this character. Does Nomura hate Kairi? What is going on? Please explain this to me. All that build-up of her wanting to fight, wanting to defend herself. She gets blown into pieces by Xehanort. Kairi just stood there in this scene. I understand she was afraid because of everyone getting knocked by Terranort, but the way this character was built prior to KH3, we believed Kairi would be strong and able to defend herself, even in most critical situations. I don't know if we'll get more Kairi scenes or development, or even gameplay via DLC. Gameplay would be nice. But look, even if we do get DLC, side stories and extras, is it going to fix the bad pacing we have at the Keyblade Graveyard? Even if they try to give more cutscenes for Ven and Aqua, let's say, where would they place them? They followed Sora to Yensid's tower immediately afterwards, unless they went somewhere before the Keyblade Graveyard, which we are yet to see via DLC. Like, look, I don't want to compare Kingdom Hearts 3 to Final Fantasy 15 situation, vanilla Final Fantasy 15, but the thing with FF15, to keep it short, that game really needed story updates. Characters would come and leave and oh, they're back, okay, what happened? People were lost. With that, Square Enix released episodes for characters individually. As for Kingdom Hearts 3, it's just that everything was placed at the end. I like the lines we got from Xemnas and Ansem, from all of the other characters basically, when they got defeated. But look at this place, it's massive. I thought, okay, Xehanort made a small maze, but nope, it's the whole place. It would have been cool if we had faced each member of the Darknesses or organization members individually. Not only it make the game longer, but also expand on the abilities of these members individually. Battling them in groups at first felt so scary, so intense, but then you realize your party members do the work for you. KH2 Final Mix showcased the capabilities of these members via data battles. Sadly, having them in groups completely toned down their abilities. Having cutscenes after defeating one of them, the execution just felt so awkward. to say the least. Where'd the others go when said organization member is talking? Are they sitting in the back and eating popcorn waiting for their turn to get defeated? Like what? I tried looking up stuff on Ultimania and I found this by Nomura. The end part of the story, where all of the characters from both the Allies side and enemies side were gathered in the Keyblade Graveyard, was incredible. Fans all have different favorite characters, so I thought I should give each of them their own time to shine, but because the amount of things needed to be explained was too large, I had to find a way to have Sora move forward, at the very least. Actually, when scenarios were being written, the Keyblade Graveyard was the most difficult. If I focused on each character at a time, the progression of events would be quite slow, and the battles involving Sora were necessary to be shown, so making allowances for everything was difficult. The way I imagined it, all of the characters tied to each other should fight in order and put an end to everything themselves. But if I did that, the explanation would end up being too long. On the other hand, if I made the enemies you can battle only a few people and showed the rest via cutscene, that wouldn't have been very satisfying. After worrying about it quite a lot, with a certain intention in mind, I placed the emphasis on the pacing, and the way the plot unfolded was able to be brought to life. Nomura had imagined what it'd be like if we had dealt with these characters one by one. Long story short, he said it would have been just too slow and apparently too long. Okay, I wouldn't have minded that at all. This is Kingdom Hearts 3 after all, a game which was anticipated for years. I would have looked forward to an even longer game. Why not? There you go, if you wanted the answer by Nomura, there it is. With this bad pacing comes a bunch of questions. Yes, Kingdom Hearts 3 had a lot of them. So many, in fact. I had to make a video to try and explain how everything was happening at the Keyblade Graveyard, how Xion came back and all that. Now thanks to the Ultimania, Nomura answers questions to some of these story scenarios. Is it a bad thing to have so many questions in Kingdom Hearts 3? Here's how I look at it. The Kingdom Hearts series always had Ultimanias, going over mysteries and particular story scenarios. Ultimania, guys, it's nothing new. Some are frustrated that the answers in Kingdom Hearts 3 are inside a book, but this book has always been a thing. But I do want to say this, the pacing to me felt like Nomura's attempt to quickly wrap up Kingdom Hearts 3 and to move on to the next saga. As for past titles, sure we had some questions, but those questions were planned to get answered in the next game. Now of course not all answers in the franchise have been answered in later titles, not at all. But do you get what I'm saying? It's not like the questions fans have at the Keyblade Graveyard are going to get answered in a future game. It's just the direction they went with. They thought, okay, fan interpretation, let's go with that, guys. Fans will be able to understand what happens on their own. No. From my video, my questions video, the comments alone, to me, proved that a lot of people were lost and had no clue what was going on. Nomura even thought fans would be able to understand how Xion came back. But anyways, he decided to explain it better via DLC, which is coming sometime this year. Hey, at least the Xehanort's fight was cool, much better than Kingdom Hearts 2 Xemnas. Some people are gonna disagree, okay? But really, only the last two parts of Xemnas' boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 were fun for me. As for the others, they felt gimmicky. As for the underwater swimming part, I didn't mention this in the video, the swimming mechanics, they were much better than KH1's swimming mechanic, okay? That's just one thing I want to say. As for Xehanort's goal, I admit his way of explaining is very different than the one he said in his reports from Birth by Sleep. How there's too much light, the tyranny of light. In KH3, he goes on to say from light came too much darkness. He wants a purge to happen, he wants to reset the world. As for Birth by Sleep, he wanted balance between light and darkness. In KH Birth by Sleep, Master Xehanort's goal behind opening Kingdom Hearts was to create a new world. But in this game, he says it is to reset the world. Why the difference? What was revealed in this game was another piece of the truth. His goal was, this world is no longer any good, and we have to recreate it from scratch. Yeah, Xehanort's words are different, but the theme of balance, I still felt it present. Ultimately, Xehanort just wants to reshape the world. Yeah, the words are different, but I still felt his intentions were the same. So guys, with that being said, this is the end of my thoughts video on Kingdom Hearts 3. So as usual, do your stuff, comments, questions, anything in the comment section below. And guys, thank you for the support. I've been VTNVIVI and thank you for watching.
This might be a good spot